Hello everyone, Hachadino over here, and today we are doing another update on our build, let's say our Flicker Strike build itself. Now, for the update, we have gotten to 100 million DPS, even more of course if we have the Unbound. As you can see there, we kind of delete everything that is against us. Of course, there are some caveats to the build, but we have gotten many improvements. We are level 94 Warden with, as you might remember, with an Spine Snatch. I've been very unlucky with getting this well tempered, but after some volatile battles, I did get 6% on my helmet and 5% pen. I still didn't get to 5% pen and 4% life, but today I do have time, so I am going to upgrade some things with currency that I have. I just need to do voyages to get more sulfur because I don't really want to buy it. Now, as you might remember, I did kind of say that we were going to go for a joke of suffering. You can go for this one, or you can also choose to get simplex or something like that with omega critical strike multiplier and other things, but I think that's kind of far away from our goal right now, because right now I've spent around 20 to 30 divines across the whole build, mostly on abyss jewels, cluster jewels, and sulfur and doing crafting. My gloves are also going to be changing soon. I'm going to explain you how to craft gloves that are like this. This is kind of like a super stopgap because it's a cheaper way to get at least 3 of the mods that we want. But there's a way to get more. It might get a little bit expensive. Now, same thing as before. Do remember a Pearl of Saosa with Trinity, close combat, elemental damage with attacks, melee physical damage. You can even good go for Fortify, because if you do get Fortify, you can drop these points over here and also drop these points over here. So you could drop everything here, and in the future cluster that we will get, we will do that kind of anyway, dropping these ones. And the dream is also to get a Pearl of Saotha or the Fallbound Warrior's Legacy with Hatred, a level 20 Hatred. That way we have another socket that we could use for things like Berserk or a strong animated Guardian or anything that could increase our damage. Now for boots, I do recommend that you actually use a double corruption on them. You could get action speed. Chaos resistance would be very good for our build, because right now, as you can see, I don't have much chaos resistance, so my max hit, instead of being like it should be like 20 or 30k, it's only like 6k. This is taking into account that we are fortified and they are in our sand and stone area. Now, of course, you also want to volatile Bal Darkness and Throne to get us 122 if possible, if not 120, 1 something, but most of that 100 is also possible. Changing the Warrior's Legacy for a Fallbound Warrior's Legacy, and keep upgrading the jewels. I'm also going to do another video on one thing that I found out that it's actually quite bad for us, but it's nothing crazy. Also try to get corrupted blood on the Tekrot gaze. That way you don't have to worry about that, because I still do die sometimes when I get corrupted blood and then I have nothing to hit. Now for other things, you can use a Lion's Roar or the Super to pass fast, or you could use still one of the not the onslaught one, but a crit one with crit, mainly because on normal clearing we do not have 100% crit. You will see the POV that I'm going to show, but for the most part you're going to be running from 80 to 100 crit, even with our tinctures activated. You can see here that we do have 60%, but then when we get the power charges on Assassin's Mark on the target, we get higher. Now that can be solved, of course, with Diamond Flask, that you put the critical strike chance thing, and then that way you can get very reliably more. Like this is only the 100%, but you can get way easier to 100. Now, for other things that you might want to see, I'm going to show the POV now. Let me do that. This is our current POV. Sorry. Here, as you can see, we do have the flask that I told you about activated to get to 100% critical strike even without those power charges. If we take the power charges off, we are not at cap, but we do have those power charges on, and then also the flask, we are very safely on that money. You will see here that I'm doing 50 million. That's why I said 100 million, is because remember the interaction with Warriors Legacy. Even in single target, we are getting those double hits. There are some ways to get quadra hits with the how's it called, Hydrosphere, but you can check Mage Fist video on that, and he has explained it very well several times, so I'm not going to go into that. And it's also very hard to do on our build, mainly because we are very socket starved. Now, this is my gear that I have right now, nothing crazy. Now for the gloves that you would want to craft, let me show you very fast. We are going to do them. You can have them at armor evasion or evasion energy shield. Use no full energy shield because we don't have enough intelligence. But if you put one with evasion energy shield, as you can see here, we want them to be elder. And then of course we want life. We might even craft it instead. The most important thing are the suffixes. We are going to want faster attacks, not the elevated one, because this one is super hard to get. But we're going to have the normal one, then the critical multiplier one, and then we are going to add an essence. The essence is going to be, in this case, you can have the 16% more attack speed or the added fire damage one. These two are the good ones. If you get the critical strike one, you could drop critical strike chance on other places, but even in our tree we dropped all of the critical strike chances things. As you can see, both of these are kind of good, but of course the attack speed one is better. Now, to get these three mods, it's going to take a while, and you may get one of the lesser attack speed or multipliers, but you will go into the market, and the fossils that you want to do this with are going to be, it depends, you could use a more expensive prime resonator, or you could use chaotic resonators. I do recommend that to get the baseline, like to get those three mods, you use the chaotic resonator, and then you will need to have a glyphic fossil. Sorry, because you have a glyphic fossil, and then I think I actually don't have any sanctifieds, no, but then you would use a deft fossil, and lastly a shuddering fossil. This will make it so you have a corrupt essence modifier. You can choose from those 4 essences. There are 2 misses, the more ailment and the critical strike, although you can kind of make the critical strike one work, changing a little bit of the tree. But as you can see, even with this is mainly multiplier, we don't have almost any critical strike chance on the tree, so it's not like you can drop it to have a better damage ratio. And with those 3, you will likely get it more often than not, but it may still take up to 10 or 11 tries, and you may not get like the top rolls that I had shown you before. So maybe you also get your prefixes full, and if you get your prefixes full of random shit, you may also not have that that extra life. That is kind of whatever, but it can happen. There are other ways like recombinators, but I'm not super savvy on those. You may check if it's cheaper to do it that way, but this is the way that I had found for now. And if you get these 3 mods, as you can see here, we have 24 million DPS more than the ones I have right now, because the ones I have right now are kind of not the best, because we don't have both of the mods, and the one that I slammed is the chance to poison one. Now, other thing that you want to do with Yoke of Suffering, you do want to change this one. I still haven't done this, but I still have the configuration, and I'm going to show the POV with this configuration. You want to have the chance to bleed. Chance to bleed. Why do we want chance to bleed? It is because we are using the Yoke of Suffering, so that is one more element. Also, you also want to have the chance to poison. Over here, chance to poison hit. And with those two, it's very likely that you get them on the mobs. Now, let's craft those gloves. As you can see over here, we only had life. The other 2 prefixes are whatever. But you could get some random things like faster projectiles, but those don't work. The chance duration and other things, this is kind of an elevated mod, so you can't really do much with it. You can get some flats. Because you have the attack speed, it's actually not likely that you get any of those. But prefixes are whatever. You can even craft some things, or if you didn't get life, you can craft life with no issues. Also, remember to use the ship, because you will get 4 options instead of only 1. Now, if we add these gloves and we put these new gloves over here, you can see that we gain a lot of damage. So our baseline now is 150 million without our super unbound power. If we do get to unbound, we have almost 300 million DPS. This is without a lot of good jewels. We still are trying to get those. Now, that is kind of everything for the update itself. Do remember to get some extra fire resistance. I would need to get... This is easy because we are overcapping on strength a lot, so you can just use tattoos. Remember, we have a lot of strength nodes over here. You can change these ones for just some fire resistance. You can see over there. Or if you eventually change all of your jewels to not have strength, you can also just get one of these big nodes. Like right now, I'm super weak on intelligence, and I still 122 to equip my chest. That is most of where we need our intelligence, so I'm using 2 of these. But that is it for now. For the next improvements, you want a Foul-born Warrior's Legacy. Ideally, of course, you're going to Volatile Vial the reduced life mod to a lower one. You are going to double corrupt Bubonic Trails and get something useful. There are a lot of good mods. Like if you see over here, this one, if we corrupt, we don't want implicit, we don't want roll ranges, but you can get onslaught on kill. This makes it so you can anoint other things instead of Hatchet Master. Action speed, huge. Increased life, good. All resistances, we can change some jewels to have less resistances. Chaos resistance is actually very, very good. We could go from almost 7,000 max hit to even 11 or something like that. Increased endurance charges. These are going to be hard to put. You can use weapon swap with the banner. How's it called? The Red Blade banner and Endurance Cry. That way you get those endurance charges, but it's very annoying and I don't do it. I'm sorry. Unwavering stance is something that you don't want. We have quite a bit of evasion from a lot of things. Dropping whatever ground unaffected, can be good. if you don't want to use the goat ascendancy kind of thingy for the burning ground. Regenerate while moving is not bad. Maximum resistance. Now all of the plus AoE or plus whatever things here are not that important. Chance to suppress damage, we have 0 suppress, so going from 0 to 6 is not going to be a huge difference, but it is still something. Now, if you don't know the mechanics, also I'm going to explain them while I do a map, but if you have already watched the previous videos, you can kind of go off. We also want to get our last cluster jewel. The cluster jewel will likely be with these points over here and these points over here off. That's why we do want to get our Shroud of the Lightless to 4% increase maximum life. I think actually that 5% maximum life per Abyss Jewel is not possible. I did some math, and even if you get a 15% increase explicit of life modifiers and then perfect volatile vial, it seems that it gets at most to 4.3 and we need 4.6. So forget about that, but you are able to get the 4% per jewel. We do want to get that 4% per jewel and 5% pen. That is our dream on those. Now for the Tekra jewel itself, nothing crazy. Just remember other things. Always keep some cool searches for the Abyss jewels. I will do another video about searching for the good Abyss jewels. This league is kind of hard because not a lot of people are farming the mechanic, and also because the jewels themselves seems that there's a little bit of a bug, and the good ones, the 6 mod ones, are not dropping. Now I'm going to let's go into a very quick map. We did a Maze of the Minotaur over there, and let's do, let's say, just a normal map. Tier 16, some damage, less effect of auras. I am still completing the Atlas, mainly because I've been doing a lot of delve and a lot of voyages. Actually, that's most of where my currency comes from. I'm also going to do a video about how I make currency. Arcade, let's just not use this Scara because it's whatever. And while arcade loads, we just go over here. Now, one thing that is still kind of important, if you haven't seen it, is the way that we are using our tinctures, and also the way that we are clearing the maps themselves. So this build is an active build. You will need to check your tinctures stacks and other things. And also keep in mind that we do have less DPS because we are running the Horrorfrost node. You can always change it to the other one. It's around like 30% more DPS, a little bit less because we already have a lot of penetration. But if you don't know how Warden works, you have some nodes that make it so your tinctures, even after they are deactivated, you have at least 12 of the stacks of the Weeping Wounds, because we are using the light one, or Mana Burn. You're going to get the effect even when they are not up. If you see the POV, they are super strong, and while we have them activated, that's 100% of the time. I actually messed this up because I should have cleared more of the map. But yes, we are doing the one where it spawns bosses. For that strat, you do want bosses with like special arenas. That way you don't get less bosses than intended. Because I do intend to farm the Elder Slayers one. And we're also going to be doing Abyss. Now for other things like Legion or Breach or something like that, Flicker is always kind of decent at those. But we are not really made for those things. Now, for anything else, remember you can always catch me on my stream. And if you like the video and you stayed up to here, you could like and subscribe. It helps the channel. hasn't been growing that well, but we just enjoy making content anyway. So have a nice day, and I will see you on the next video.